Hello everyone, it's Michael Lazar here, and welcome back to the channel, and I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Now in today's video, we're going to be analyzing a singer who is a Polish countertenor, whose name is Jakub Józef Orliński. Now, the song that he is singing that we're going to be using for analysis is But Who May Abide the Day of His Coming, which comes from Handel's Messiah, which is an oratorio. An oratorio is a religious work that is set for orchestra and for voice. So we're going to listen to his rendition of this piece, and we're going to analyze the techniques he uses for being a countertenor. We're going to explain what a countertenor does to sing, and we're going to explore the different assets that he has as a singer and how we can apply it to our own singing. Okay, I want to stop right here. A couple things. So one, already from the beginning, we can see that he is being accompanied by a whole orchestra. Now, why is that such an interesting thing? When you're accompanied by a whole orchestra versus a piano, you actually get the full range of instruments. We get to hear the violins, we get to hear the cellos, we get to hear the harpsichord, we get to hear the double basses, we hear the fagotto or the bassoon, the oboe, all these different instruments. I don't know if they have an oboe in this orchestra, but we hear all these different sounds that are accompanying the singer. Versus a piano, the piano is a great instrument. I'm a piano major at college. It's such a versatile instrument. But when you have an actual orchestra backing you as a singer, it creates such a different energy and sound that propels your singing. Now, one of my most memorable times as a singer with an orchestra was when I was really young, maybe I'd say 12, right before my voice changed. I was asked to sing the St. Matthew's Passion, which is another oratorio written by Bach. Now, St. Matthew's Passion, if you don't know what it is, I'll play you an excerpt from it right now. It is really a beautiful piece of music. And when you're singing it with a whole choir and the orchestra behind you, it really pushes the sound and the energy so forward. And it really changes how you sing, because it changes how you hear yourself and how you hear those around you. Because you have to adjust your sound so that it matches the instruments. And likewise, the instruments have to adjust their sound so it matches the singer. Not just the sound, but also the phrasing as well. Again. So, da 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 da. If you listen to it, there's no breaks in that line, and the orchestra that's playing follows that. Now you can hear the da-da-da-da-da in the harpsichord. That is continuation of the line, not creating a new line. And that helps to support the singer. And the orchestra da-da-da-da-da-da is mimicking the same phrasing back. And whenever he has a breath, the orchestra breathes with him. So already we can hear the dynamic between the singer and the orchestra, and that it's kind of like a give and take. The singer sings with the continuo. Continuo is the basso, which is in this case a double bass, and the harpsichord. And the orchestra responds. Now when the singer and the orchestra come together, it's a completely different dynamic. But for now, you can hear that the orchestra is matching the singer in this call and response, which is such a beautiful sound and such a beautiful concept. So let's talk a little about his singing. In order to produce a falsetto sound, a couple things have to happen. One, your vocal placement has to be very, very far back. Probably the farthest back you can take it. Now, why is this? I think in order to produce those overtones, you have to access the space in the back of your throat. And to keep that space really open. When you place your voice a lot further forward, like that, what happens is that you can't produce those naturally occurring overtones with the openness of the back placement. And with the front placement, whether you realize it or not, ma is naturally going to close the back of your mouth. Now, I am a little bit sick, so just mind that a little bit. But in order to produce a sound that's very forwardly placed, like ma, I have to close the back of my mouth a little bit more. Versus a more backplaced sound, ma, I really have to align my throat with that. So that's how you produce a falsetto sound. And in order to maintain the sound, it has to be very light. If you go heavy on it, the sound will break and you won't be able to produce that falsetto timbre that's very pretty. In fact, it'll kind of sound a little nasty. A little bit like a cat if you push too hard on it. And because of this, as a result of it being so far back in your mouth, it's very hard to project your sound because it's not up here, it's back here. And as a result of not being able to project your sound, you have to be able to produce as much volume through your air support and that volume of air alone without changing your placement, which is really a daunting task because you have to be able to add all the air while still keeping control of your sound so your pitches don't go all over the place, making sure that your timing is not affected, while also keeping proper separation of the notes. There's so many difficult things. I know a lot of times you hear that, oh, if it's lighter, it's probably easier to sing. But in reality, it's much harder to sing because you have to train your voice to be able to utilize the same amount of, breath support for less sound, which creates a different thing. It's like trying to flood your engine with gas. You have to be able to control it so it's not being flooded with gas, but it's being used for every correct function. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, which is just so stunningly beautiful, is his pronunciation and diction. Now, Jakub Józef Orliński is not somebody who is American or British born. He is not someone whose first language is English. And if you listen to him in interviews, he has an accent. But his English is so impeccably perfect. I want you to just line one more time just to hear how crisp his pronunciation is. It's so beautiful. And let's talk about what he does in order to produce those sounds. His jaw and his lips move very quickly to accommodate the sound. Now, let's slow it down. I want to look at the word abide. Some people might sing abide like, but who may abide? Like that. That's how I would sing it. Some people might sing it, but who may abide? That's the worst way to sing it. Why is it so ugly? Because you're creating so many overtones, you're reducing I guess, the consistency of your sound. And I'd eat. It sounds painful. But who may abide? Here he changes his mouth shape so quickly that you can't even produce it, but it's so clear. Abide. Right in between, you can hear the change of when he changes the sound from an ah to an ed. It's so clean and so clear. There's no bide. There's no I. It's just who bide, bide, bide. It's so clean and so clear. And there's no transition state. And that's what makes it so easy to hear. And that is what makes it sound so unmuffled. It's just so amazing to hear the dynamic between the orchestra and the singer. Once again, it's like it's a mimic, a copy and paste of the most beautiful sounds. So the orchestra is amazing, the conducting is amazing, and the singing is out of this world. The next thing I want to talk about are his runs. It's very clean. But the thing is that with the high falsetto range, to get those separations of notes, it takes a lot of discipline and skill to be able to stop the air without breaking out of that falsetto character. And he does it so well and so cleanly. And another thing is the way he opens his mouth. With falsetto, it is a very different way of structuring your mouth. Because it's so much more open in the back, the way you open your mouth, and at least the lips, really changes. If I open like it's a little different than when I do but the structure change is quite drastic. And because of that, there are a lot of interesting things you can do with your voice in that range of mouth shapes. So he still keeps the mouth opening the same. It's still wide, it's still big. But because it's coming with that big space in the back of the mouth, it really creates a much more open sound. And that doesn't feel any constriction or any restraint on it. It's very, very pure and very, very pretty. So I want to get the transition one more time because I kind of cut it off. It's really nice. That's one of the hardest transitions to get because it changes from a slow triple meter to a really fast 4/4. Bump, bump, bump. But I guess in this place, it's more like cut time. But it changes speed so much, and you hear the orchestra's like that with I think it's not tremolo. I don't believe it's a tremolo, but it's 16th notes. Oh, this is where the runs get even more impressive. Where the runs are such long phrases of notes and notes and notes, but they're so clean. I just want to play this section for you, and then we'll go back and listen to it. Okay, I'm gonna stop here because the runs are so clean. You can eat off of them. That's how clean they are. So this is the section, probably one of the hardest excerpts of music you'll ever hear. Oh, like, okay, I'm sick, so it's a little hard for me to sing. But if you slow it down, you can pick out each note, and each note's so perfectly in tune. Finer's fire. Like, it's everything's finer's fire. Like, it's so clean. This next section, the arpeggios, there's fire. It's so clean. Each note is so precise, and he keeps it all. Wow. Just the way he keeps it going, keeps driving is amazing. Now, the way you would hear a bass sing this is vastly different from the way you would hear a countertenor sing this, because the dynamics of a countertenor are heavily limited compared to the dynamics of a bass. A countertenor can't really sing forte the same way a bass can sing forte. That's just a result of the way the voice is placed. But in this case, he's still able to get a nice projection in his sound and a very unique sound. Here, it's a little weird. This is probably my least favorite part, in his interpretation of it. But it's also because it's the hardest part. Because, and to keep the sound going, he has to breathe and then maintain vibrato. There's fire. The issue is he breathed in between those sequencings, so you can hear it. Listen. That breath right there really breaks that line. But again, he probably needed it. So I guess it's okay. If I were to breathe, I do. Right there, he sings for the finers, fire. But he really snuck it in there. Finers, fire. Yeah, I feel weird criticizing because my voice is so sick right now that, like, I sound quite bad, and he sounds quite beautiful. But I still just think that I would interpret that line differently. But then again, he needs the breath probably, and he's also just sung a minute and a half of these crazy runs. So most likely, he needed that breath. Now, if you don't know how this aria is formed, it's an A, B, A prime. And in the A prime section, the vocalist has areas where he can put vocal liberties in there, where he can do more ornaments. Now we can already hear he put ornaments here. That's not a wrong note. That's him intentionally but who may abide. It's so dirty but so clean at the same time. The way I would describe it, it sounds kind of like perverted. That's how it sounds, but it's supposed to sound like that. It's so beautiful though. It's a very seductive sound. It's very nice though. And the nice thing is that he's not remaking the section like the first one. It's different. It's softer, and the way his facial expressions are a little more remorseful, as opposed to more like repent now and more like I'm repenting. It's very, very nice. That crescendo, you can hear that it kind of pushes almost, but doesn't. And then that vibrato at the end. When you add vibrato, there, he kind of lost the color of it. On the But again, this is something very hard to do, keep that color consistent. But it's still so good still. Okay. So it's different than the first time, but it's still that same intensity, but it starts off softer. It's gonna get louder, but it starts off a little less right punch at your face. It's gonna be a little more like soft, but still intense. So that chord right there, that's not actually what's written in the music. So I believe in the voice parts, fa, it's a C sharp, I think, but the fa, and he sings a C natural B. Now, if you listen to the orchestra, if it's actually C sharp diminished. It's a diminished 7 resolving to a minor 1. But he sings, which creates a augmented diminished 7th, or it's a diminished chord, but it's an augmented 7th that resolves down to the diminished, fully diminished 7th. But it creates a really interesting sound, where it's not as harsh as the double G sharp, and it sounds a little less like Baroque. It sounds a little bit more modern, but it really changes the texture and color of the sound. I'm gonna do one more time, just a little slower, just so you can really hear the chord. Maybe raise the volume up a little bit and hear the bass. Yeah, just the clash between the orchestra and the voice. It's it works here. I actually like it a lot. Some people might say no, it doesn't belong here. Now, why did he do that? Because he wanted to go to the B flat there, but it is fire. That's an augmented second. It's a really harsh interval to sing. Not very stylistic of this time period. Very astylistic. The harmonic minor interval, da 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 da, not used in Baroque. So he does the C natural, and that's what I suspect he's doing here, in order to get to that B flat that he wants to get to. Okay, so right there, that's a very like he right there he stops to. I don't know if he's swallowing or has something in his mouth like spit that builds up, and he needs to breathe through his nose to inhale it. That's what my suspicion is. Most singers they would want to, it's never recommended to breathe through your nose when you sing. Usually through your mouth because you get the most air possible. But here it's very dramatic. For he is like, but he doesn't do like this. Like. Wow, that was incredible. Um, out of 10, what do I rate this? I know I had a lot of things to say. That's like a 9.7 out of 10. Like that for me was something that was just so beautiful to listen to. 9.7 is very very high. This is music that you usually will not hear from any Joe Schmo. You won't hear from any trained singer. You'll hear from the best of the best of the best of the trained singers, and he is incredible. I highly recommend you go follow him, listen to his materials, listen to his recordings. He is, I think, one of a kind singers. I know, I guess a phenomenon we have in America. We like to have America's Got Talent, where they have people who are pop singers and all these things, bring their sob stories and then sing. They sing okay, but all of it's like computer generated and stuff. What I love about his voice is it's so natural and pure. It's not covered by tons and tons of filters or tons of computer editing. It's his voice. That's something you can only find one in a million at this point in time. Most people, are changing their voices, adding edits, which I guess the market wants it, but sometimes the market's wrong, And in this case, I think the market is wrong. I think singers like him, Jakub, Józef, Orliński, they need to be promoted more. And I hope you guys found his voice as beautiful as I did. Now, some people out there might not like countertenors. That I say, learn to love them. They are such a interesting vocal range to sing. Now, my own falsetto range is getting better. I know I said a couple videos in the past my falsetto range is not very good, but I've been working on it, and it is getting better. I'm just sick right now, so can't really hear it. But definitely, this is someone to look out for in the future. And if you're not familiar with Western music, so if you are a Byzantine musician and you follow my channel because of that, you should still learn Western musician, or at least listen to it, because the fact of the matter is, in the Byzantine realm of things, there's not a lot of trained vocalists that you can really hear good music from. Now, I'm very much someone who is very cautious of what I listen to. I'm very cautious of what music I listen to, of listening to what people recommend me. And the reason why is because I know I'll pick up the habits of people I listen to. If I listen to bad singers, I'm going to pick up on their habits. If I listen to great singers, I'm going to pick up on their habits. So that's why whenever I listen to singers, I try to make sure that there's singers that I know are good and that won't make me learn bad habits. So I hope you found this video interesting and helpful. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate if you liked and subscribed. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one and have a great day.